Hi loves, welcome to Love What Luck. I hope you're feeling proud of yourselves and happy today. It's a big day, it's a big week. It's the first episode of February. We made it through January. I'm thrilled for us all. It was even light at 5 p.m. this week. The sun, I use that term loosely, but it was still light out at 5 p.m. this week, so we're through the worst of it. It's just going to get better now. I will say that this January is probably the easiest one I've had in a number of years, and that's because I've really lent into the winter this year, and I suggest you all do the same. I'm going to continue to do it for February. I'm keeping outdoor activity to a minimum. I'm not going out and about when it's still dark. I'm just trying to keep warm and cozy and honestly just like work with my natural cycle. Work as the world intended us to in winter. That's my tips for us all. It makes sense why some people celebrate the new year in spring. Like, it makes complete sense. Like, honestly, in the winter, I just feel like we should be hibernating at this point. Anyway, I wanted to talk about blessings in disguise this week. My cousin Jenna sent me a story, which is actually from another podcast, so I'm not going to steal it completely and read out word for word, but it was basically this woman. She was with a guy for 12 years. They had 3 children together, just built a whole life together. And then she said in the space of 12 hours, her whole world completely collapsed. She discovered he was in Mexico with a woman that was old enough to be his mother. Jump scare. Jump scare, happy February. Here's the most traumatic story you'll ever hear. She said he was 26 and the woman was 45. And she said that looking back, the relationship was one-sided anyway. She said that he never really supported her career and he encouraged her to drop out of uni when she fell pregnant when she was 17, I think. But they had 3 children. She said that in the final 18 months of the relationship, he barely came home, sometimes only once a week. He claimed he was staying at his business partner's house because the baby being up at night meant that he wasn't getting enough sleep. Sorry, this absolutely killed me. He wasn't getting enough sleep, which he needed for his early starts because he was going to work and she was just looking after the kids. That for me is grounds to leave already. If I'm at home with the 3 children and you are sleeping somewhere else most of the week because you need the hours, I wouldn't be worth being around, honestly. Because the absolute audacity of you thinking that your sleep is more important than mine when I'm at home with the 3 children. And also, you're missing out on time with your children. Like, for the sake of sleep? Absolutely not. But she did say she always had a gut feeling something wasn't right, obviously. So she said that one night when he was home, she searched through his phone. And she said the only thing that stood out was a WhatsApp contact, saved as a business name, but with a profile photo of a woman. And when she went on there, it had disappearing messages. I never understood what the point of disappearing messages on WhatsApp was. Turns out they're for people who have affairs. People who have affairs and maybe people in the MI5 or something. It had disappearing messages, but one message remained saying, "Okay, call me later, baby." She said when she confronted him, he denied everything, obviously, saying he was just keeping the woman sweet for business discounts. She called the woman and then the woman backed up and said, yeah, it's just business only. She backed the guy up. So the woman couldn't really do anything, but obviously kept an eye on it because I feel like if something like that happens, obviously deep down, but you're just kind of waiting for the evidence and stuff to drop and to back up until you've got a full case. She said after that his behaviour became more secretive, his phone was always on Do Not Disturb, and he even left her in the car overnight, which biggest red flag, I'm sorry, because who's being without their phone overnight unless you're hiding something? Why are men so silly and stupid sometimes? Because obviously we're going to know you're hiding something. We've just found these messages and then all of a sudden you're not bringing your phone into the property. Come on now. She said also that he missed Christmas. He missed part of Christmas and his kids opening his presents because he went disappearing for a few hours. She said she found hair on his clothes, parking tickets in the car from locations she didn't recognise. One of them was a hotel, I think she said. And then one day he made an excuse. He said that I can't remember the full story, but he said that his best friend's brother died or something, And as a result of that, there was a spare ticket for him to go to the Bahamas, which obviously he took because the man's got 3 children, a wife, and no responsibilities. Like, of course he went to the Bahamas. Anyway, whilst he was there, the woman's friends came over and she said that was like the best thing that could have happened because obviously she told them and then she set up, which I can imagine all her friends were like, go do it, girl. She set up a fake Instagram account, followed the woman from the previous messages that she suspected, went on the Instagram, and the woman was posting up in Bahamas, like drinking, partying, just, on the holidays basically. So obviously she knew that they must have been together. She texts the guy saying emergency, and when he rang, she said, go on FaceTime now and show me who you're with. He didn't. It took him 15 minutes to call her back, of which point, obviously, he's alone. She was asking him to, send pictures of who he was with. No, it was just him. Immediately then, she gets blocked from the page. So it was just, obviously, it was going ahead, but he just kept denying it, which I just think when you're up against the ropes like that, lying just makes you look even more stupid. You've been caught out. We all know that, we're going to break up. It's happening. So, why just embarrass us both and try and keep the lie going is so stupid. Anyway, obviously they break up, she leaves. And then I think she said, a few months later, she was at home and she saw his car. And her mother was like, oh, God, I thought that was, the ex. And she said, that is him. It's his number plate. And her mother said, yeah, but he's not driving. There's a woman in the car. So, obviously, she was panicking and, thinking that this was the older woman. It was a different woman, and it was one of 7 that he was cheating on her with. There were 7 women, 7 double lives that this man was leading. He was agreeing to adopt a child with one of them. Bear in mind, he's got his own 3 kids, which Lord knows when he's seeing them. I just who has the time and the energy and the effort and the skills, honestly, to have 7 relationships? Absolutely mind-blowing. And also, why do you need 7 relationships, So obviously that's a whole other thing to deal with. And then she said a year later, she received a call from the original older woman, the older manager woman, who was really upset because she had caught him cheating with somebody else and she was battling cancer and she'd basically just been used by this guy. And the woman said that she actually felt compassionate towards her because it takes something to get to that level, but I think I would be the same. It's the man's in the wrong, and yes, you should absolutely never willingly go with somebody that's in a relationship, but I also just feel like this guy was obviously very manipulative and, God knows what he was saying to her about his relationship. I feel like he was probably the type of person. I feel like some people that are married or, in relationships or whatever, they manipulate the other person to agreeing to be in this affair with them because they probably slag their partner off. And for me, that is the biggest red flag. If you were dating somebody right now and they, married or they're with somebody or they live in with somebody and they're trying to say how awful the relationship is, please let it be a red flag. Because if it was that bad, the person would leave. There's no reason to still be in a relationship with somebody and having an affair. For me, there's just absolutely no excuse for it, ever. So please try not to be manipulated by those guys and women, to be fair. Anyway, she said, despite how devastating it all was, the story doesn't end there. She rebuilt her life, she went back to university, healed over time, and has eventually found real love. Her message was simple: no matter how deeply you fall, life can get better. Time heals and it's possible to start again. And I feel like from that, as traumatic as that whole experience must have been, now she's come out from the other side of it and she feels good. I feel like you can almost be grateful, might be a bit of stretch, but depending where you are, but I feel like it's almost, you can look at it as a blessing in disguise because if that had never come out, she was in that relationship for 18 months when it was not nice for her. Do you know what I mean? She's raising the kids by herself, and there's probably loads of situations like that when you're sometimes in a relationship, and sometimes it's like you need something to happen to like force you out of it. And then obviously when you've rebuilt your life and you're much better off, because obviously you're going to be better off without that type of person in your life, then you can kind of look back and think of it as a blessing. And I thought that was something nice to talk about this week. So if you've got any blessings in disguise, then obviously, as always, come and share them with us. You can send me an email, sadie@lovewhatluck.com, or send me a DM at Sadie Maltby at lovewhatluck. Because I think they really uplifting as well, these types of stories. And yeah, I just think, honestly, as hard as it is, I know, especially when you're going through a shit time. But I think if you're going through a shit time and you can tell yourself, this is all going to make sense one day, like this is going to be for my better good one day. I think even if you can tell yourself that when you're in the pits, it's a really good sign, and I just think it's very helpful. Also, can I just say, why does WhatsApp make it so easy for people to have affairs these days? Can I just say, like, why are they showing so much support for people who want to have affairs and cheating? Because we've got archived, yeah, where you don't have notifications through. You've got disappearing messages. And on top of that, you've also got the locked chat. This is a new thing that I discovered maybe last year. I don't know if I spoke about it at the time. Locked chat is like this whole different thing where when you put something in locked chat, you get a notification that something's been sent there, but it doesn't say a name or anything. It just says one WhatsApp notification. And if you're like me, archive on WhatsApp is kind of my safe space. So if I'm like having some sort of issue with a message that is making me feel quite uncomfortable, and I've sent it and I'm like not waiting for the response, I'm archiving you, because I can't handle seeing if it's on read. I can't handle seeing if you're typing. Like, it's when I can't see a message. So that's originally how I wanted to use archive, but also over the last few years, group chats tend to go in there, you know, not the ones of you like with your girls and your family, but just like those group chats where like sometimes they're just popping off and you're just like, oh, I just, can't deal with it. Like in my building complex, I'm in like 3 WhatsApp groups for various different things. Like I can't handle the notifications, so you put those in archive. That ends up meaning that, like when you're on WhatsApp, and then it used to be like you'd see archived one and your heart would go, because you'd know like if something's in your archives, it's got to be something bad. That's changed now, where archive, sometimes I'm up to archive 6. It means nothing, it causes me no anxiety. And that's because the secret messages are now in locked chats. Are you with me? Are you following? I realise this is a lot. Basically, the locked chat is for messages that are going to cause you severe anxiety. Like if a message is coming through from the locked chats, your nervous system needs a warning. And it's really like, it's like the extra safe space where you never ever have to see anybody in those locked messages. I think I've got like 3 people in there. Should I check? Like you can't even see locked chat. You've got to pull it down. And you need to go on locked chat, you need your Face ID. I've got 3. I've got 3 in there, and I just know if I hear from either of those 3 people, if I see a notification up saying 1 new WhatsApp, I know it's from one of those 3 people, and I know that that's going to like propel me into a state of anxiety. But yeah, we've got archive chats, locked chats, disappearing messages. Let's make it harder for people to have affairs, please. It shouldn't be this easy for them to like manipulate their loved ones. Anyway, segue. I just think there's lots of instances like this in life where shit happens, and then like a couple of years later you can look back and be like, oh my God, thank God, because now I'm not in that situation anymore. I also think it with jobs as well. Like I've seen loads of stories like that where people have got sacked from their jobs, and they said, if I never got sacked, I would never have left, and then I would never have gone on to do what I really wanted, my passion. It's like the Summer Fox story from TikTok, which I'm sure I've said before, but she got sacked from her job. Then the next day she was free because she wasn't working. She agreed to go on a date with a Canadian guy, whilst he was in London, and now they're fully together. She ended up moving to Canada to live for him. Now they live in London. Like, you know, one door closes and another opens. And I was also thinking if I've got examples of this, and weirdly mine is like so long ago, but I was just thinking of how like I came to London and kind of like built my life basically for the last 10 years. Was because I always wanted to move to London after I graduated, and my main goal was like, I will do anything just to move there. I wanted to go into PR, couldn't get any jobs because I had no experience. So then I ended up going for recruiter jobs. Guys, I look back, I'm like, wow. I used to wake up at like 5 a.m. or something, get on a National Express bus to London, go to these all-day recruiter events. Never wanted to be a recruiter. Obviously, I had no idea what I was doing. Never got a single one. Guys, I must have gone to about 5. And it would be like these really intense days where you'd go in a big group and then you'd have to like do all these tests. And then like one by one, they'd send groups home. And then it'd be like last one standing. I never made it to the end of the day. I always used to make it like, you know, past the first few rounds, but it would be like standing up in a circle, tell me an interesting fact about you. You know, like all that stuff. My worst nightmare, honestly. And then I remember one exercise being like, there's 7 of you in a hot air balloon and one of you has to go, like to land the hot air balloon safely. How are you gonna put your fight across? Not me, guys, please. I don't even like to take something off you if you've offered it to me. I'm feeling guilty if I'm taking a biscuit off somebody that I don't know that well. So fighting my cause to stay in a hot air balloon with 7 strangers, it is just absolutely not for me. I can't stress enough how much I wasn't set out for. Anyway, the point is that I didn't get any of those jobs, so I had to put my London life on hold. I had a flat up there and everything with a meal before I had a job. It was all a bit messy. Anyway, I had to come back to Wales and then I got into pageants. And when I got into those, I then ended up getting into modelling and like meeting different people in the industry. And then it was like, oh wow, I can actually get signed in London and that's going to be much more fun to get up there. And then through my modelling agent, I met this guy that worked in films and he needed a PA. So then I was a PA for him one day a week. And then, you know, I'd go out and then I met this other guy in PR. Obviously, I wanted to get into PR. At the time, after the work experience, I was like, actually, I'm okay. But then, like, you know, I met him and I was like, oh, I could work for you one day a week. And then that's how I got into becoming a PA eventually. And it was literally just like meeting different people and then obviously like building my CV up and my experience and then thinking, actually, I can go into this now. Like, everything unfolds for you. Whereas, like, if I had got that job in recruiting, there's absolutely no way I would have gone and done any of my life the same way. And I know that for a fact. There's no way I would have moved back to Wales and done pageants. I would never have done them in London. I would never have met those people, those same people that I met. I wouldn't even have thought about going into modelling. Like, none of it would have happened. And I just find that crazy. And obviously, thank God I didn't get any of those jobs because I literally had like 10 years of the absolute most fun and best memories. And obviously I'm spiritual as well, but I do really think that things will always work out for you, even if they're a little bit shit at times. I think eventually everything always makes sense. And I've got another story of this, a blessing in disguise, which I loved. And he said, when I was newly married, my wife and I dreamt of having a large family. We soon found out that I was unable to have children, and this was a devastating realisation. This year we celebrated 25 years together. We have 2 beautiful adopted children who I would not trade for anything. Things worked out for the best. How cute. So cute. And again, able to see like a positive to something that obviously at the time would have been devastating. Also talking about adoption, can I just say, that Davina McCall show, what's it called? Long Lost Family. I cannot see a clip of that without watching the whole thing and crying. I will never skip it. As soon as I see that older person and Davina saying, "We found your daughter," oh, I'm done. I'm immediately done. The tears are in my eyes. I can't cope with it. I used to watch that show every week. It became too much for me. But if you ever need a good cry, then tune in. But nothing warms my heart like that. That clip hates to see me coming because I sob. I literally sob. Also, I remember the first time I went back, or like one of the first times I went back to my boyfriend's family's. His mother put a TV show on. I think it was a show or a film about like this little girl that got adopted. We're all sat there, everyone's watching it. I was like crying silently, but like trying not to bring attention to myself because obviously I'm new into the family, first meeting occurrence, silent tears all down my face. His mother looked at me, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't cope with it. I do fear I've gone more emotional since I've got older as well. Like, I've always been an emotional person, but I feel like now I'm older, I cry about things that make me happy. And when I'm really grateful for things, I'm literally like that girl in Mean Girls when she gets up on the stage and she's like, I just have a lot of feelings. That's me, and I feel like I can't really control them anymore. I could cry at any given moment, like nowhere is safe for me now. But on a positive, I am going to LA. By the time this episode comes out, I will be making my way to LA. Amelia, I'm sure I've told you before, Amelia moved to San Diego 3 or 4 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, but she just moved to LA, so I'm going out to see her in a new place. I have been to LA before. Actually, the first time I went to LA I cried because I saw the Hollywood sign and I was like, I just always used to see this on TV and like now I'm seeing it in person. But yeah, I've been to LA before and I've done the touristy things, I've done like Hollywood and I don't know, wherever other touristy things there are. So I'm excited now to go and just like experience a little California life. And we're also going to Palm Springs. And I've never been to Palm Springs before. So if you've got any recommendation, guys, for LA, Palm Springs, send me a little DM. I'm going to be there for a week. But yeah, I want to do like the silly things, like go to Air One and get a $40 smoothie. Go to In-N-Out. I have been to In-N-Out before, but I was disappointed. And I feel like I need to go again and get my order right. And yeah, that's kind of all I got. I also want to go to like Ulta Beauty. I love going to like Target and, all of those vibes. But yeah, if you've got any recommendations, let me know. Yeah, we're staying in Trixie Motel as well in Palm Springs, which I'm very excited about. It's weird that even though she's so far away and the time difference and stuff, because we speak every day, when I see her, it is just like no time has passed and we're completely caught up on life. So it's not like, oh my God, so good to see you, like let's catch up since last time I saw you. No, it's literally just like, I see her all the time, but I actually only end up seeing her now maybe 3 times a year, 3, maybe 4. I just feel like that happens as you get older. Like even my friendships like in the UK, like obviously I've got so many family and friends back in Wales that I don't see. And even when you're in London, people live like an hour away from you and stuff. So yeah, I think that's what happens, guys, when you get older. I do miss the times like when you get to see your friends every day. And that's like what I've said before. I feel very grateful that I got to live with them. Because I was watching Kardashians the other day. And Kendall Jenner, I was watching like old Kardashian episodes. And Kendall Jenner was 18 buying a house, which obviously super privileged and love you. But I was like, you've never experienced living with your best friends. Like you were going straight to living by yourself. And living with my friends when I was that age was just like my absolute best memories. So yeah, come and give me a follow on Instagram if you want to see where I get up to. I am at Sadie Maltby. On holidays, I post like I'm an influencer. Like when I'm on holidays, 9 times out of 10, I mean, even that's dwindled lately, I will say. But I am putting up everything, I'm posting every day. When I'm home now, I'm really struggling to be on socials. I don't know if anyone else is feeling like this. I feel really fatigued by it. And I honestly just think it's like the first time in my life I feel like I've got like a real proper job. Like those memes of the people that say like, oh, I got important at my job and like now it's hell. That's kind of like me. Like it's not hell, but it's my first job where I've actually, like, it actually takes all my energy, which is not good when you're trying to do a podcast socials. But my 2026 goal is to be more active on there. So please come and follow me and come and chat to me on there, because that will motivate me to to keep up. I'm at Sadie Maltby, or the podcast pages at Love What Luck. And yeah, please remember to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give me a follow on Spotify. Leave me a little review. Come and chat to me. And thank you so much for listening. And I'll speak to you next week.